Hi guys, today I am back to discuss um, the things that I noticed after ayahuasca. So this is basically just going to be life after ayahuasca. And I actually have a list here so that I don't forget anything and so that I can be a little more organized, because I feel like in my previous videos I was kind of all over the place because it was so much information. So I wrote a few things down to help me out a little. All right, so the very first thing that I noticed after my second ayahuasca session was that I felt healed. Like I feel like I'm healed, and when I say healed, I don't mean that everything is just completely perfect in my life and I have nothing to work on. When I say healed, I mean that I feel like I've been released and freed from the incidents in my past that were weighing me down or holding me back. And I just felt, well, immediately after, I felt a lot lighter. I felt more free. I felt just this excitement inside. It's very difficult to explain, but overall, just more calm and more peaceful. So now it's like I was already working on, becoming a more calm and peaceful person, but it became a lot easier after ayahuasca, I'll say. There's a lot of things that used to bother me or get under my skin before that no longer do. So I'm really grateful for that. Another thing that I noticed is that I feel a lot more confident. Um, for example, um, I feel less fearful. And also, I used to be the type of person who would just keep a lot of things to myself because I felt like most of the people around me didn't understand me and who I was becoming. And I also used to be, I don't want to say worried, but I used to feel like they wouldn't understand where I'm coming from if I do say certain things, or I would be kind of, I don't want to use the word worry, but I don't really know what other word to use for it, but I would be worried about what their response would be or how they would judge me for certain things that were on my mind or certain things that I was experiencing or going through. And now um, I feel like all of that went out the window because I no longer care how somebody is going to respond to what I say. And I don't mean that in a sense of not being compassionate. I would never do anything to hurt anybody's feelings, but I mean coming from a standpoint of just being able to speak my truth a lot more. I'm able to express myself a lot more without feeling like I'm walking on eggshells or feeling like somebody's going to judge me because I no longer care about those things. People could think what they want about me. They can have whatever their opinion is. I really am not concerned about that. As long as I speak my truth and say what it is that I'm feeling and that I'm honest with myself and honest with others, that's the most important thing to me. And I'm just grateful that I got to that point, because before it was a lot more challenging for me. I would just keep things bottled up for the most part, and that's not good. So the next thing that I want to talk about is that I noticed was immediately after um, my ayahuasca experience, I was able to tell that I lost a few pounds. Like my stomach was flatter, and also I could tell by the way my jeans were fitting that I had lost some weight. And I do know that prior to going to Peru, I did take oil and salt out of my diet. So I was eating a lot lighter then. So I did lose a couple pounds then, but I lost even more. It wasn't a bunch of weight, like an unhealthy amount, but I lost more weight after my ayahuasca experience, because you figure during that experience, you're releasing, you're purging things out that you no longer need to hold on to, things that are weighing you down. So naturally, you lose weight. And I don't want to speak for others because I can only speak for myself, but I will say that I'm not the only one who noticed that they lost a few pounds. The other people who were in the group with me who well, who I had the ayahuasca experience with, they also said the same thing. So I thought that was interesting. But another thing I just thought of that could have played a part of that, besides the purging, would have been the sweat lodge experience, because we were in there for 4 hours and we were sweating, like a lot of sweat. So that could have contributed to losing a few pounds. I'm not really sure. It could have been both. But yeah. All right. So the next thing that I noticed was that my relationship has changed for the better. So I know that during my ayahuasca experience, I was given a lot of information on my relationship that I had. At that point, we were no longer together, but I was given a lot of information about that relationship, and a lot of things were revealed to me about myself, and a lot of things were revealed to me about him, and just saying that I'm not going to go into too much detail, but just basically saying that things are going to be a lot different this time and that we're supposed to be together. And I will say that I noticed a huge change. Now, I'm going to let you know that everything is not 100% perfect. We do still have disagreements here and there. It's not often, but when we do, it's a lot different than how things were before. I feel like now, whenever we do have disagreements, it's so much easier to get past. It's so much, it's a lot more communication. We're able to get through the challenges in such a healthy way that they're no longer an issue. So it's natural to have disagreements or challenges with your partner, but I don't know, at this point I just feel like we're better equipped to deal with them together in a healthy way. So the next thing that I noticed is that my hip has healed. So I never had any type of diagnosis like on my hip or anything, because it wasn't anything that was severe, but I did notice that well, for example, I had previously tried to complete the insanity workout. It's a workout that I bought a long time ago. And after, I would say about 2 weeks in, I would start getting a little pain in my hip. And when I say pain, I don't mean like, how can I explain it? I would say a mild pain, but it feels like my hip was being like overworked to the point where if I would have continued instead of giving myself a break, it probably would have like caused an actual issue with my hip. So I noticed since then, because I previously just completed 63 days of insanity workout, I noticed that my hip is unbothered. And how can I explain this? I'm sorry for stuttering. But I've started this workout probably about 20 times and didn't finish. And part of the reason was being inconsistent, and the other reason was because of my hip. I would notice that it felt a little strained or just a little pain. But this time around, I completed the 63 days with no breaks, no problems, and my hip was fine the entire time. So that's a plus. My hip is healed. All right, the next thing I noticed is that my psychic abilities are more developed now. So prior to going to Peru, I explained a little bit about it in my previous video, but like 2 years ago, it was my first time having like a psychic medium experience, and it was during my meditation where some girl's mom came through that I used to work with, and the experience then, like it really frightened me at first, but it was, the experience then was just like I saw an image of her mom, and then it was like telepathic communication. She was just telling me what she wanted me to say to her. So now, and also, sorry, during my ayahuasca experience, I was told that I would have more spirits coming through, and that I don't have to be afraid because they always come with love. And my job is just to pass that message on to whoever it's for. So it has been happening more often. It doesn't happen every single time I meditate, but it does happen more often than what it used to. Before then, it only happened like 2 to 3 times before going. And then I don't know, I just noticed that the experience is a lot different now. It's the same but different. So now, instead of only seeing an image of the deceased person, first they'll show me an image of whoever the message is for. And all of the people that come through, well, the message that come through is for someone that I know of. They're not always close to me. Most of them aren't close to me at all. It's just people that I know, that I've either worked with or went to school with, or just people I know in some kind of way. So sometimes I'll have to reach out to them like via Facebook or Instagram and things like that to pass the message along. But now when they come through, they'll show me an image of the person who the message is for, and then I'll see an image of the actual deceased person who's given the message. And then I noticed that at the end of the message, I'll start to feel emotion behind it. Like I won't be emotional, but for some reason my eyes will start crying. I don't know why. I haven't figured that out because I haven't really dug too deep into that yet. And I do plan on, nurturing my abilities more eventually once I get myself just situated and more consistent with everything that I'm already doing. Another thing that I noticed about my abilities is one day, like I don't normally take naps during the day. And this one day I was just really exhausted after my workout. And I started dozing off. I never actually went to sleep, but I started dozing off. And it was like, I don't even want to say a dream. It was like I had this vision of me talking to my boyfriend's friend, asking him about if him and his girlfriend found out what they were having yet, because his girlfriend's pregnant. And then a little after that, I just snapped out of it. It was like I was in I guess the state that you're in right before you actually fully go to sleep. And then after that, I left the house because I went to go get something to eat. And my boyfriend's friend, he never stops by here, ever. When I came back, he was outside talking to him, and I thought that was so interesting, and I ended up asking him the same question. It was weird. But there was another incident that happened like that. I noticed that sometimes I'm starting to get messages in my dreams. It's pretty interesting. Or sometimes, like one day I was meditating and I saw a bee, and it frightened me out of my meditation. It was weird. I guess that is one of my one of my fears. But it kind of startled me out of my meditation, and I had sorry, I lost focus. So I ended my meditation there, and then I took some clothes down to my basement to wash, and I ended up seeing a freaking bee down there. It was crazy. I don't know, but there's been a lot of little incidents like that, and I thought that was really interesting. And then there's sometimes when I get downloads of messages for other people, and I'll be like, in my awake state, not meditating or anything or sleep. The feeling and the message will just come to me, and then it's kind of like a download, and I'll just send the information to them in my words. Without adding things in that are directly from me. It's difficult to explain, but that's pretty much that. Anyway, moving right along. I also noticed that my monthly cycle, as a woman, my cycle is a lot lighter with no pain. So previously, it wasn't like super heavy or anything, because I know it got lighter after I became vegan. However, it's lighter than what it was prior to doing ayahuasca. And I had started taking, prior to doing ayahuasca, I was taking a magnesium supplement because the first day of my cycle, I would always feel like, I'm sorry if this is too much information, but I would always feel like my like my pelvic area weighed like 20 pounds. It was like, it felt like a lot of pressure. So the magnesium supplement, it helped me a lot because it's like a muscle relaxer. So I would just take that around that time and I would be cool. But now I don't have to take it at all, and I don't have any pain, no cramps, no pressure or anything. So that was another change that happened since then. And the next thing is I am a lot more conscious and aware. So I can tell for sure that my consciousness has expanded a lot. And that's one of the things that's actually been uh, difficult for me because, and it's not a bad thing at all. It's just that I'm so conscious and aware now of myself and my actions and my thoughts, that when I'm not moving towards the things that I'm supposed to be doing, or if I am, how can I explain it? When I'm not allowing myself to make progress, I suffer during those times because it just doesn't feel good to not make progress, to not be moving forward. You know what I mean? So it's been an interesting ride, to be honest. And I feel like that's one thing that some people don't discuss, is the fact that, well, I can't speak for everybody. I don't know, maybe people's lives are completely perfect after ayahuasca, but that was one of the things that had me a little messed up on, because I assumed, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do this ayahuasca and things are gonna be a lot better, and they have gotten a lot better. But I don't think I wasn't mindful of the challenges that I was gonna face afterwards. So I've faced some pretty big challenges afterwards. However, because of the ayahuasca, I was so well equipped that I was able to get through the challenges easier than I would have before. So, yeah, just to let you know, after doing ayahuasca, you still have work to do. There is no, life is just going to be easy breezy and you don't have to do any work on yourself. You still have to continue putting in the work on becoming your best self. Because if you don't, you're going to suffer mentally. And which is a good thing, because you won't be able to just stand still and be complacent and not do anything to better yourself. So that's good. You don't have a choice but to continue on and better yourself. The very last thing that I noticed is that I'm no longer able to overeat. So I've always been kind of on the smaller side, but I also really love food. So prior to doing ayahuasca, I used to overeat a lot. Anytime I thought whatever I was eating was good, I would just eat more, or go back and get seconds just because it tastes good. Not because I was actually still hungry, but just because it tastes good. And now, oh yeah, also I used to overeat whenever I felt like a little stressed, or I was just having a hard day. I would just eat, I guess, to make myself feel better and not out of hunger. So it's to the point where I will eat and I might have like 2 or 3 more bites left on my plate. And before, I used to just eat those few more bites even if I wasn't hungry, because I honestly don't like wasting food. But now it's to the point where my body just tells me like, you're not even hungry no more, and I can't even put the food to my mouth, because I don't know, I'm so aware that my body is satisfied that it just doesn't allow me to overeat. And I'm not mad at that, because overeating is not good for you and your digestion. So I'm grateful for that, but I just thought that was really interesting because of my habits that I had prior to this. So that was actually, yeah, that's the last thing that I had that I wanted to talk about. If you have any questions, feel free to comment. If you like this video, go ahead and hit that thumbs up button. And the next video that I'll be back with is just giving information on my experience with the sweat lodge. So yeah, thank you so much for watching and have a great day.